To all the participants in this forum, a pleasant day to everyone. I am Police Lieutenant Colonel Junior Abrazado, and I will be presenting to you the cybercrime landscape in the Philippines. Shown are the contents and sequence of my presentation. I will briefly introduce my unit, discuss Philippine digital trends, cybercrime statistics and cybercrime trends in the country, the challenges that we are facing in investigating cybercrimes, and lastly, I will share our recent project as part of our cybercrime prevention and awareness campaign. The enactment of the cybercrime law in the country, the Republic Act 10175, otherwise known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, mandated the Philippine National Police to create the Anti-Cybercrime Group, which was activated on March 20, 2013. It has marked its separation from the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group under the Anti-Transnational and Cybercrime Division into a separate National Operational Support Unit. The cybercrime law states that the ACG shall be responsible for the efficient and effective law enforcement of the provisions of the Act, which shall be manned by special investigators to exclusively handle cases involving the violations of the law. Since its activation, ACG has taken the lead in handling cybercrime cases in the PNP. These are the core capabilities of ACG. We investigate cybercrimes, conduct anti-cybercrime operations, conduct digital forensic evidence recovery and digital forensic data analysis. We provide technical and operational support on cyber-related cases. We conduct cyber patrolling in open sources and social media platforms. We conduct vulnerability assessment and penetration testing and maintain cybercrime databases as one of our cybercrime investigative tools. The PNP ACG has established regional offices nationwide and has currently 11 provincial anti-cybercrime teams to cater the growing cybercrime complaints in the country. In the near future, all provinces nationwide will have its own anti-cybercrime teams as authorized by the latest PNP ACG reorganization in 2018. In the National Capital Region, we have established the district anti-cybercrime teams in all 5 districts in Metro Manila. The main office of ACG is situated at the national headquarters of the PNP in Camp Crame, Quezon City. Data Reportal reported that in January 2021, 67% of the Filipinos are using the internet. That is 73.91 out of the 110.3 million Filipinos. 89 million or 80.7% are using social media, and there are more mobile devices than the total population with 152.4 million mobile connections. This reflects the usage of more than 1 devices of many Filipinos. 96.7% are using prepaid connections with only 3.3 on postpaid. This is one of the major challenges in cybercrime investigation since prepaid numbers does not have any registration details to identify the suspect. The dawn of the internet has broken down the physical boundaries. We live in the world today where criminals with various intentions can perpetrate crimes without the need to get near their victims. So long as there are vulnerable people and devices connected online, without knowing the dangers of the internet, cybercriminals will always have a pool of victims to prey on. The cyberspace has indeed triggered a paradigm shift in criminality. Even our children are now more exposed to the internet via the smart devices, which makes them vulnerable on bullying, threats, scams, online sexual exploitations, and many more. Now let us move on to the cybercrime statistics of ACG. Please note that this does not include statistics of other cybercrime offices outside the PNP organization. ACG statistics shows a continuous increase in cases handled since its activation in 2013. The highest cybercrime volume recorded was 6,110 in 2020. The 2021 cybercrime cases, however, are steadily increasing with 1,909 cases received from January to March. This is consistent with the increasing trends of reported cybercrime cases through the years. Thus, it is also projected that 2021 will take the lead over 2020 before the year ends. The increase in recorded cases can be attributed to the expansion of ACG offices nationwide, covering more areas in the country, in the regional and provincial levels. The internet-enabled devices such as smartphones are becoming cheaper, coupled with free internet connectivity in many locations. Filipino netizens unaware of the cybercrime modus are easily victimized by cybercriminals. Shown are the top 10 most prevalent cybercrimes. The online scam, which was previously the consistent number 2 in the list, became the number 1 when the enhanced community quarantine was implemented. The lockdowns have forced Filipinos to use the internet for business, education, productivity, entertainment, and other purposes. Thus, more Filipinos were exposed in various transactions online. The online libel is second on the list. Unlike in other countries, damaging the reputation of a person is considered a crime in the Philippines, and most libel cases are being committed conveniently online. Third is the computer-related identity theft. This nature of offense is mostly connected with the other cybercrime cases since suspects hide their real identity by simply copying other online accounts. Fourth is the violations of anti-photo and video voyeurism. It is also a prevalent cybercrime, which involves sharing of sensitive photo and videos without the consent of the victim. Illegal access and hacking mostly involves unauthorized access or illegal takeover of online accounts, particularly social media. Other most prevalent crimes, cybercrimes, are credit card fraud, threat, unjust fixation, and robbery with intimidation of persons. These are the recurring incidents and exploits which the cybercriminals have found effective. For online scams, they simply take advantage of the trust of their victims who got interested in their too good to be true offers. So if people will only simply conduct verification and research about who or what they are dealing with online, scammers will have a hard time exploiting victims. In romance scams, however, cybercriminals employ love, care, and compassion, which blind victims and comply to all of their demands, making them willing victims. In business sector, cybercriminals employ business email compromise and man-in-the-middle techniques by spoofing or copying emails and illegally transacting in behalf of the client or provider, resulting to millions of pesos of losses. Copying identity has never been easy since many names, faces, and personal credentials can be publicly obtained, even on some social media accounts. Suspects use fake or copied accounts to hide their identity. Phishing links are also a problem since it can be shared in many online platforms, even via text messages. Spear phishing is much more effective since criminals offer something that they know the victim would like based on the research that they have conducted on their targets. In hacking cases, we have noted that it starts from one hacked account and the hacker uses the legitimacy and integrity of the compromised account to ask for money to the friends of the victim. So if only victims are verifying the identity of the person behind their friend's account before they send money, they could not have been scammed. Cybercriminals have realized that in order for law enforcers to get registration details from service providers such as internet service providers, telecoms, and bank institutions, we need to secure cyber warrants in compliance with the data privacy law. The worst part is that after we have secured cyber warrant, we note that some identification cards presented were fake after we have verified its legitimacy in the issuing agency. Thus, the effort to secure warrant is pointless since we cannot file cases against the person with fake name and fake addresses. We have also discovered that organized cybercrime groups such as telecom fraud and investment scams are based in commercial and exclusive residential areas with strict guarding systems to make it hard for law enforcers to conduct surveillance. Just like traditional crimes, cybercrimes happen because of the presence of these three elements. Suspect has capability and motive, and there's an opportunity to commit a crime. When it comes to capability, many of us are capable of accessing the internet using even with low-priced internet-enabled devices and can connect freely on the internet via public Wi-Fi's or cheap network promos. The motives of cybercrimes are mostly driven by the intention to gain money, but can also be personal in nature, wherein the suspect wants to get even with the victims or use online platforms for propaganda or destroy the reputation of their rivals. The opportunity is usually on the part of the victim, as they present themselves as suitable targets. So long as there are people who instantly believe in what they see on their computer or mobile screens, we will never run out of victims of cybercrimes. We have the control of this vulnerability, and this could easily be avoided if people will just learn how to verify, validate, and secure their sensitive information away from public eyes. There are opportunities, however, that we cannot control. Cybercriminals are taking advantage of both the absence of SIM card registration law and the presence of a strong data privacy law, which was purposely enacted to protect the law-abiding citizens, unfortunately, also greatly benefits the criminals. The basic foundation of cybercrime prevention should involve the people, process, and technology. Each has their own important part and must not fail in their individual responsibilities. If any of these three fails, the cybersecurity of the individual or the company will be vulnerable from many forms of cyber threats. Thus, people should be aware of the dangers of the internet and know that there are criminals always looking for opportunity. Companies should have defined and strict policies and guidelines to follow and ensure the security and resiliency against any occurrence of any forms of cybercrimes. And we should make sure that we are protected with a reliable technology to thwart off any form of cyber attacks. As the cybercrime cases increase in the country, ACG also conducts sustained anti-cybercrime operations against cybercriminals. Last year, despite the pandemic, a total of 220 operations were conducted by ACG, out of which 114 were entrapment operations against scammers, online sellers, and overpriced PPEs and extortionists. We were also able to serve 83 warrant of arrests, implemented 6 search warrants, and provided 17 technical assistance to various investigating units of the PNP, such as the Women and Children Protection Center, drug enforcement units, and city municipal police stations, resulting to the arrest of 351 suspects. Out of these operations, we have rescued 12 minors who are victims of sexual exploitation. Shown are some of the significant accomplishments of this group relative to the implementation of search warrants against foreign nationals operating in the country. Now, what makes it difficult to solve cybercrime cases in the Philippines? As what I've mentioned already, we hit the wall when we learned that if the number being used by the cybercriminal is a prepaid number. Thus, we need the SIM card registration law to be passed so that every mobile number reportedly used by criminals should have a name associated to it. Similarly, dynamic IP addresses, particularly using data connection via cell towers, will have no registration details of the clients. Some suspects use virtual private networks or proxy servers, wherein IP addresses appears to be coming from abroad, even though the suspects are operating within the country. Thus, request for information needs to be channeled through the Department of Justice, particularly the Office of the Cybercrime, to avail the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty for countries where we have international cooperation. We need to apply for cyber warrants even in obtaining non-content traffic data. Thus, if there are social media involved and a bank, social media and bank involved, we need to apply to for warrant to disclose computer data, or what we call the WDCD, for the social media service provider, a separate one for the internet service provider, and a separate warrant for the money service business used by the suspect. Suspect can easily hide their identity by using fake credentials in registration of online accounts. So even after applying for warrant, the credentials obtained does not attribute to the real identity of the suspect. Since the criminals are exploiting this loophole, online providers should take due diligence in verifying the legitimacy of their clients so that they cannot create an account with fake identification. Cooperation is also an issue since many victims, either individual or companies, especially those who have lost small amount of money, do not return to ACG to continue the case, leaving us with pending cases. Seized digital evidence with strong encryption may not be able to be analyzed by forensic machines due to its limitations. And every time we investigate cybercrime, more often than not, we are dealing with multiple jurisdictions, involving both local and abroad. Thus, it causes delay in the investigation since we have to reach out for other countries through the proper channel. So if these challenges will be addressed through capacity building and amendments or creation of laws, the PNP ACG will have an advantage in solving cybercrime cases in the country. The photo explains the reality due to the borderless nature of cybercrimes. Cybercriminals respect no boundaries. In this example, one cybercriminal was able to victimize vulnerable netizens in multiple jurisdictions using the same online accounts. To mitigate the present challenges of PNP the PNP invests more in anti-cybercrime awareness campaign strategy. On July 8, 2021, the PNP, spearheaded by the Anti-Cybercrime Group, has launched the Project E-Access. Under this project is the Cybercrime Watch website activated, wherein the netizens can search if an online account, particularly phone number, social media, or email addresses, have already been used or a cybercriminal reported by a complainant in any of the ACG offices nationwide. Netizens can watch and share informative videos and episodes about cybercrimes so that they will be aware of the latest modus and trends in cybercrimes. They can view and share infographics of latest cybercrime modus. Netizens can be informed of the latest platforms being used by cybercriminals and what are the most prevailing cybercrime cases. They can also locate our nearest offices nearest from the client's location. And they can also access other online services related to ACG, to include our ACG websites where we have the forms for our digital forensic services. You can visit our website at cybercrimewatch.pnp.gov.ph. In combating cybercrimes, we are only as good as our weakest link. Advanced countries may strengthen their cybersecurity posture, but the less fortunate countries will always be taken advantage by cybercriminals to penetrate them. Law enforcers may enhance anti-cybercrime operations and investigations. However, if the prosecution and judiciary will find it hard to adapt in understanding the nature of digital-enabled crimes, it will be hard to prosecute cybercriminals. Cybercrimes and terrorism have flourished in the region with the aid of the internet. No great country can solve this problem alone. There's a need to strengthen international cooperation to address these cross-border challenges that impede cybercrime investigations. Combating cybercrimes would require an all-nation approach involving all pillars of the justice system, and the lawmaker should also be involved to create and amend laws that restricts the prosecution of cybercrimes of the cybercriminals who are currently exploiting the speed, anonymity, convenience, and global reach of technology unless we will deprive them of those liberties. Thank you, and may we all have a blessed, fruitful, and meaningful life ahead of us with our loved ones. Stay safe, healthy, and cyber secure.